everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Hannah, and as you can probably already tell, I have some pretty exciting news to share in this video, so you picked a good one to start with if this is your first video of mine. So let's go ahead and get started. Probably already know by now, I have announced this everywhere except for YouTube so far. I just haven't made a video in a very long time. But my husband and I, we are pregnant. We are expecting our first baby and we are so excited about it. Like, could not be more excited. It has just been a wild last couple of months. So that's why I'm here today. I'm going to share with you basically my first trimester symptoms, but also just kind of like in general what we've been going through the past couple months, because I clearly have not told you guys anything, and it's been a couple months that we've known now, and so a lot of things have just kind of like changed and been going on, and I'm ready to share. So I do have a bunch of symptoms just written down on my phone to share with you as the weeks kind of progressed, but I do kind of want to just go through a little bit of a backstory first, because like I said, it has been a few months and I just haven't said anything yet. So I found out that I was pregnant, I believe it was July 14th. It was a Wednesday. I know that. When I found out, like when I tell you it was a shock or a surprise, I'm not kidding. It was a shock, a huge surprise to us. A good one though. Like, my husband and I always knew that we wanted to have kids. That was definitely in our plan. We didn't really have a timeline on when we wanted to have kids. I feel like for me, if I have a set agenda for when I want to do things in my life, it just kind of stresses me out and makes me go crazy if I'm not hitting certain deadlines. So it was just something that we were putting out there. Whenever God had a plan for us to start having kids, that's when it was going to happen, and here we are. So, and this is going to sound kind of strange too, and I could definitely do a little like story time on a different video if you are interested in what I mean by this, but when I took a pregnancy test on this day, it was actually an accident. I did not mean to take a pregnancy test, and so taking the pregnancy test and finding out that it was positive, I was just like very shocked, very surprised by it. I had already taken some tests and they were like clear as day negative, and so I was like very much so certain that I was not pregnant. That wasn't even an option at that point, and then here it comes and it was positive. So my point in saying all that is that I literally had no symptoms. Like, nothing was pointing towards a possible pregnancy of any kind. The only thing that had happened was that I hadn't gotten my period, but like that wasn't also abnormal for me. So no symptoms, and this was Wednesday. That Saturday, so like 2 days later, is when I started to feel symptoms, which to me still just sounds crazy, and I can't tell if I just kind of like, now knowing that I'm pregnant and knowing that there are normally symptoms that come with pregnancy, maybe I was paying attention to my body more, but like I just felt like things kind of hit hard like 2 days after I found out. So at this point, we were about 4 weeks pregnant. Now at the time, I had no idea how far along I was. The doctors actually thought we were like 12 weeks, 13 weeks already, but that was not the case, thank goodness. I was very relieved when I eventually found out I was only 4 weeks, but I am gonna start there and kind of share with you the symptoms that I started with at 4 weeks when I found out I was pregnant, and up until now, we're already in the second trimester. So let's go ahead and get into those symptoms. The very first symptom that I started feeling, like I said, found out on Wednesday. Saturday, I started feeling things, which was crazy. But the biggest one that just kind of like came on all of a sudden was that my stomach was super bubbly and gurgly. Like, I just felt like I felt bubbles in there all day long, and it lasted for like days on end, and that was weird to me because I've had that feeling before, like if I have an upset stomach or something, but my stomach wasn't hurting. It was literally just bubbling, and with it came a lot of like acid reflux and just burping. I felt like I was burping all day long and just feeling very bubbly. So that was the big one, and probably the first one that I noticed that was just a little different. And then another one that kind of accompanied that was that I had a lot of cramping, and they really just felt like period cramps. They were a lot more frequent. I was getting them more often throughout the day than I normally would with my actual period cramps. My normal period cramps were not very strong or intense, and these were still bearable, but I was just getting them more often. And I did notice that they were more so on only my left side, which was also a little bit different. And also I got a little concerned about that in the beginning, because I know with like ectopic pregnancies and stuff, they say sometimes that a symptom of having an ectopic pregnancy, like maybe the baby, I don't really know all the science behind it, but I'm pretty sure that like it kind of gets like lodged in a tube or something, and if that's your left tube, then you might feel more pain on your left side or vice versa. So that was a little bit weird, and I wasn't so sure if that was normal, but my doctor ended up saying that it was normal, and so that's what happened. The cramps probably lasted like in total maybe 2 or 3 weeks. They just kept coming and going, so it definitely lasted longer than like my period cramps would last, because normally that's only a couple of days, but I definitely had some cramps. The next symptom that I started experiencing were headaches, which once again wasn't abnormal. I was probably getting these before I even found out that I was pregnant. My eyesight's not the best, so I do wear glasses most of the time, so when I get headaches, normally it's because my eyes just hurt, but I was getting these headaches like right in the middle of my forehead, which was a little bit different than the normal headaches that I get, so that was just something strange. That didn't last super long though. I would maybe say that lasted like a week, maybe week and a half, and they were bearable. I didn't take medication for them or anything. They just were different. The next symptom that I was experiencing was lower back aches. So I was getting like, I was having a horrible time sleeping. I remember the very first weekend of finding out that I was pregnant, I just like was not sleeping well. My lower back hurt really bad and I couldn't tell if it was just like the way that I was sleeping or what that was causing that. But it like right like above my tailbone, I was having a lot of pain. And then the last symptom that I started experiencing like right away was the hunger. I was super hungry, and I will say that this was really, really tough for me because in your first trimester, you're really not eating for two, like people say. That doesn't really start until the second trimester, into the third trimester, that you're really supposed to start like increasing calorie intake. But I was so hungry. I just wanted to eat like every hour. Like I was starving every hour and needed to eat something. And if I didn't eat something, I felt super lightheaded and I started to get a little nauseous, and this was a horrible feeling. So I felt like I was eating all the time. And with that came the nausea and the morning sickness, if you will. This probably didn't really hit me more until like week 5 and 6 or so. I started getting this horrible nausea if I didn't eat, or like I guess food aversions. If I saw or smelled, thought about certain foods that just didn't sound good, I would get so nauseous just thinking about them or looking at them or whatever. And it made it really hard to actually eat good food for me. I was eating often and I wasn't eating the best food for me just because what was appealing at the time was basically carbs, noodles, bread, just things like that that were pretty bland, but not always the best for you. So it was hard to get vegetables in. I will say that I've been eating a lot of fruit. Fruit throughout the whole thing has been pretty consistent that I've been enjoying. But I wasn't eating a lot of meat in the beginning. There were just like so many different food aversions in those first couple of weeks that I don't know, I felt like it was just kind of like a free-for-all. Whatever sounded good at the time, I was gonna eat it because I needed to get some energy, I needed some fuel, but I was limited on what I could put in my body. I will say, and I am so thankful for this, I've never thrown up throughout the pregnancy, knock on wood. I had periods of times where I was just really nauseous and I'd go through these horrible waves of nausea where I would just lay on the floor, which isn't fun either, but I never actually threw up. So I have to say I'm very thankful for that. I definitely think that my first trimester could have been a lot worse. I don't know how anybody functions if they're throwing up and not feeling good all the time. Like that's just not something that I can do, and so I'm very thankful that it was as mild, I guess, as it was. The other big symptom that I really experienced then in my first trimester, and this came a little bit later, like maybe closer to week like 6, 7 or so, I just kind of like lost all energy. I was so incredibly exhausted and just lazy, and I don't know, like I'd wake up in the morning, go to work, come home, and want to go back to sleep. Like I was just done for the day after working, and I wasn't going to the gym because I was too exhausted. I was watching a lot of TV, which might not sound weird, but like for me that's really strange. I'm not normally one to just kind of like sit there in front of a TV and just watch it. I like to be doing things and be productive when I have the time, and I was not getting anything done. I just felt super like meh about myself and about doing anything, and that was really tough for me. I did not like that. When I was going through it, I definitely listened to my body. I definitely allowed myself to take those rest days, and I knew it wasn't gonna last forever, but I did not enjoy that period of time. The only other symptom that I started having at the end of the first trimester that has continued to go on into the second trimester is my sleep issues. I just feel like I can't get comfortable. I wake up, which I've never done this before. Until I got pregnant, I never used to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Never, ever, ever. I could hold it till the morning and I was fine. I'm not like drinking anything crazy before bed, like nothing out of the ordinary for me, and every single night I get up at least once to go pee now, which just is my new normal, and that's the only thing that has continued. All of these symptoms that I've mentioned have actually gone away since starting the second trimester. I am now almost 16 weeks, so we are in the second trimester. We've been a couple weeks in, and all of them have gone away. The nausea kind of like picked up again that last week of my first trimester or so, and I got nervous that I had such a good first trimester that for some reason the second trimester was gonna just kind of like be crazy, even though normally it's the opposite. Things get better after the first trimester. I got super nervous about that, but luckily it only lasted for a few days, and now I have not been nauseous at all in the second trimester. I need to knock on wood. I feel like I just feel so good now. I'm gonna do a different video on the second trimester, so I'm not gonna go into like what new things have been going on right now, but all of those symptoms, like none of them have carried over to the second trimester except for sleeping and peeing more often, I guess, if you will. But even like my hunger went down, and I'm not eating as often. I can eat more foods, so all that kind of stuff has like gotten better, which has been so nice. I really just like have to thank God and just feel so blessed that my first trimester, like while for me it was different and there were some hard days, it really wasn't that bad. Like I feel like it could have been so much worse. I just always tell myself that like it's gonna end, it's not gonna be forever, and it really isn't horrible. It's not the worst thing ever. And it went by fast too. It's such like an overwhelming time but exciting time that you're just going through so many different emotions and stuff because you find out this big news and you share it with your partner, and I mean everyone kind of does it differently, but we didn't tell people until we told our families, but we didn't then like tell people until our first trimester was just about done. And so we waited for the first like 12 weeks, and so we just kind of like had this secret. We weren't telling people, and it's just kind of like, it's so hard. I'm not good with secrets, so it's so hard to, you know, get excited about something and like to know this but then not really want to tell many people yet. It was just like so many emotions going on and then so many things going on, and I don't know, it was just like such a wild time. And at the time I felt like it lasted forever, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, time is just kind of flying by. Like I can't believe that we're already at 16 weeks. I don't know, that's wild to me. So honestly, this is really why I've kind of just like stopped with social media and YouTube for the past couple of months, weeks, months, because of number one, feeling so not like myself for those couple of weeks there. I had no motivation to do anything. I didn't want to take any pictures of myself. I didn't want to be on camera. I just felt so weird, and if you've been pregnant before, maybe you can kind of relate to what I was feeling like, but it was just such a strange feeling. So I just kind of took a break from social media and whatnot and let my body feel what it was feeling and rest as much as I needed to, and that was just kind of that. I am just so excited that I get to share this news with you guys now though, and if you do not follow me on Instagram yet, I definitely think that you should. I'll put it here somewhere. That's where I announced the pregnancy first, and I have been putting some more updates on there and stuff and talking about the things that I've been buying and the things that I've been doing. So if you want more like live up-to-date updates, you should definitely follow my Instagram. But I do plan to make more maternity, motherhood, first-time mom, all of that kind of good stuff videos, just because this is literally my dream. Like to be a mom and to go through this like just this whole experience is just the most exciting thing to me, and I just can't wait to take you guys along for all the little things like making the nursery and designing the nursery and organizing and nesting and, you know, just setting up our house and shopping and just getting ready for a little baby to enter our home. I just cannot wait. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of those fun videos that'll be coming up soon, all about pregnancy and just becoming first-time parents. We're so excited. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I super appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.